first presentation, Romina, Revolution of the Design Systems. It's going to be interesting. This one. I had a chance to go through the presentation. I'm not going to say too much. Oops, sorry. When I asked Romina for the presentation, I just got this message. Presentation? Who needs presentations when we have Figma? And that's it. Romina, please.
My lifesaver here. Okay, hello, I'm Romina, and today I'm going to speak about design systems and what did we do with design systems until now. Is it revolution or is it just evolution? So you can find more about me. I'm writing regularly about design systems, but I don't want to spend much time about me because I want to focus on the future. So you already know that we're using AI. Oh, it's got a bit on the bottom. But yeah, we have self-driving cars, and we're using AI for that. And we even have a lot of flying thingies. On the left side, you can see flying cars. That's already in testing. And lots of flying drone stuff. But when it comes down to design, we're still doing a lot of stuff manually. Checking paddings, going back and forth with the colors, doing lots and lots of variants in Figma, so not really futuristic, right? And when I sent the draft for this talk, I didn't think that in just a few months, the AI landscape will change so much. Actually, you can see that there are companies, everything's in AI, But when it comes to design systems, let's see how it started. So when we were, I don't know, 10 years ago, we were doing a lot of stuff like logo kits. Still remember when clients said, yeah, send me some rules in PDF so I know which colors to use later on. And then we send them the logos and the colors, and maybe we call that a press kit. And we even came to UI kits, and most of the companies still have design systems as UI kits in Figma, so not fully fledged. But what changed the landscape of design systems is actually bringing smartphones and smart TVs. So suddenly it was not anymore about creating a design in Photoshop for standardized sizes, but it was thinking about different screen sizes. So we got iPhone in 2007, and then later on Android and iPad in 2010. So that's 13 years ago. And software became really complex, but on the other hand, we got an opportunity to measure everything. So this is amplitude, and you can actually see where people drop off, and you can connect that with design systems components to see if everything's useful, what's not working, and measure everything like LTV, cost of acquisition, etc. But what for me changed everything around product design is introducing Sketch in 2010. Before, everything was single file in Photoshop, but after Sketch came out and creating all the symbols, this changed everything. So Sketch and InVision were quite a perfect couple for a few years until Figma came out in 2016. And we got the opportunity to work with other fellow designers and collaborate real time. And as you know, Figma changes quarterly. We're not talking about years. And design process changes continuously. OK, but we got the first public design system in 2014. Probably you all know Material Design System. It's still one of the most popular design systems. But when it came out, we got a lot of apps looking completely the same. Just taking the components, putting something together, and that's it. But now it's pretty flexible, so you can do practically anything with it. And when we're talking about AI and Figma, you probably heard that this year they acquired Diagram. Maybe you tried some of their 4 plugins, Magician Genius, Automator, and now they have in work UI AI. But the thing is, this is just one tiny part. You cannot plug in your design system and get something out of it, but you can automate some particular tasks in the design process. And then we also have UI Wizard. I put this one here because it is connected to product design, and you can be faster when you're iterating and experimenting, because you can just give a prompt in, and you will get some basic interface design. As you can see, the designs are pretty basic, but still you can be faster when you're showing some mock-ups to your clients. However, it's not connected to Figma. This is a separate design tool, so you have to be aware of that. And as you can see, what's the state of design systems? Well, there's no plug and play yet. And because design systems, I believe, are about people and how we build together, we could be much, much better about this. Documentation, when you check companies and their documentation, everything's writing an essay. And of course, people were really smart about that. Oh, we can use ChatGPT and we will just generate some data and we will be much faster. But as a designer, I would never thought that a logo is a visual representation of a brand. So useful. So as a designer, I just want to know which parts or which components can I connect together, and I don't want to hear this blah, blah, blah. Then we organize a lot of meetings. So imagine you have a task to do naming conventions for your brand, and because you want to be inclusive, you invite cross-functional team. OK, let's gather and let's think about our naming conventions. And we will vote, OK, I'm up for this, I'm up for that. But half of the team doesn't even know what's the meeting about. So you take the decision, and then you know what it happens, nothing. And then when we're talking about education, yeah, if you're lucky that you have someone that's experienced in design system, but also able to educate people, then you're on the good side. But in most companies, everything happens so fast that we don't have time to educate people. And especially when they are onboarding, it's like, yeah, you have Figma files here, we have Google Docs, and that's it. OK, good luck. And when we're talking about tools and standardization, poor little JSON is always alone and isolated, because if you imagine that you want to take JSON and design tokens from Figma, yeah, you can take a plugin or Token Studio plugin, but then you still need a style dictionary to translate the language to what you need. Or imagine that you would want to take JSON and put it in Canva because you want to use the same foundation. Well, that's not possible. And yeah, I didn't mention all the other issues, challenges, like scattered documentation. We have lots and lots of apps. And then communication, how to set up a team, how someone that's a team of one can work with design system. Lots and lots of challenges. So I see AI bringing us closer with that, because we could solve the issue and spend this time focusing on strategic initiatives instead of doing these repetitive tasks. So I want to show you 4 ideas today. How can we solve this? But before going to that, I just want to explain a few basic things about AI first, because I don't know how familiar are you. Thanks. OK, so AI models today are not predictable. We call that hallucinations. So we don't know if they do what we want them to do today. And when you see AI in newspapers, new startup in AI, new startup, or I don't know, new solution, we're not just talking about AI, but a subset of that is machine learning, deep learning, and then the last one, LLMs. LLMs are large language models. And you all probably know Google Translate. That's also LLM, because in the back, that's a machine that learns the language, and then you can translate it to your own language. And how would that work? So when we're talking about machine learning, as you can see, machines can analyze trends, it can recommend best next step, it features out problems, but it also needs human input. So you don't have, it's not possible that you just put the data in and expect, okay, everything's solved. You have to iterate all the time. And LLMs, how we train them, you can take something that's already done and then fine-tune it with your own data, but pre-training is done on large unlabeled corpus. So in simple language, that means that they take everything that's available online. So blogs, academic journals, Wikipedia, etc. And then that takes a lot of, massive computational power. And then the next step is fine-tuning. And then you just put in the data that you want the language to learn. And you get things on your own end. So if I translate this to design systems, you would have 4 phases. So in the first understand phase, you just put in the data that you want to understand, so Figma files, metrics, etc. In the summarize phase, the system would already know what is it about. And then in the predict, imagine that you write in the prompt, you would get, the system would already know how to connect everything together. Okay, I also want to say that in the future, I think that visual designers will not be focused just on creating user interfaces in Figma, but it will be more about thinking like architecturally how to put things together. So some designers might just create architecture how to build things together, So if I just want to write a prompt, somebody already did the output before, so it will be easier for me in the end. So all in all, I think we're building systems of systems. How to connect everything together and using it for each case separately. Okay, so now the fun part. Imagine that it's 2026. I made this number because maybe it's 2024 because time goes, everything, technology goes so fast. But yeah, no, that's a wrong reality. Jokes aside, I named this ideal helpers FAO after the conference, and actually it could mean fully automated operations. Okay, so let's check the first idea. So taking everything in account that I just shared, like documentation and essays and everything, I think that the guidelines should become personalized. So imagine that you could take, right now, if I'm a designer and I want to create a new dashboard or new experiment for the prototype, I have to gather everything. So search through Figma, search through our documents, documentations, check what's going on in analytics, and that takes some time. And also, I might not be so sure that these are the latest information. So taking AI would look like that. So I would sign in whatever app that would be. I hope that the video will load. Okay. And then I would write whatever I need, so similar to what we're used to in ChatGPT. And after I confirm, I just get the data that I need for this particular project. So Figma files, research files that would help me as a designer, no essays, just bite-sized, shortened guidelines and illustrations that I would probably need, not the whole library of illustrations. And it's the same with all the screens in Figma. So that would really optimize my workflow as a designer. But it would be a bit different if you imagine that you are a CEO and you just want to know what's going on with our metrics. And you don't want to hear drama about how many people detached our components, but you just want to know what's going on with analytics. So probably you already use some of these apps, maybe more of them. But what I hear often is like, okay, there's a drop-off or there's a spike, but what happened? Did someone change something in the flow? No? Okay, what did we do? What's going on worldwide? And you don't have any clue. So let's go through the same flow, but this time I'm the CEO, so I just want to know what's going on with my numbers. And given that we have the smartphones and smartwatches, I could just use my voice. The data would be generated again, and maybe you are on your phone and you would get metrics, or you can also check them on your desktop computer. And it would happen the same way also if you are on watch and you just want to see the main numbers. So no more guessing and no more searching, but just the data that you need in that moment. And like I said before, because we have this machine learning, you could actually tie in the data from both sides and get connected when you update the site with your analytics tool. So that would be much, much easier for both analytics team and you as a designer. OK, so now let's change the perspective. Probably you use Figma daily. And I hope so, that you use some plugins for accessibility. And it takes a lot of time to, again, manually check, OK, yeah, this is a problem, but what is this number here? I'm not completely sure. So if we would change this perspective, the AI could actually help you. Yeah, text is too small because you also use the wrong component, and contrast is not good, so you can have the ability to update everything that's wrong here. And again, no manual stuff. It would just give you the new screen, and you can confirm it and push it in development. Or the other flow. So right now, if we imagine some basic app, let's say for ordering food, as younger generations, we are so used to these apps, and we're quite fast. But if you take older people, we have different motivations to use the app. And also, we are incentivized by different bonuses. So you could connect, again, these metrics, and you could adapt the user flow based on this ICP, so ideal user customer profile, so on your target group. And based on that, everything could be done already in Figma or maybe in code, so that it could update the copy, because you can speak in different terms with older people or younger. And also localization issues are, one of the most common, especially if you work with Scandinavian countries, where you need more, bigger frames, that you don't have some issues. And our topic, I think that's the most popular topic, design tokens, the naming conventions. As designers, it's understandable that we're not so systematic. Everybody can be, because you have people that are systematic, or on the other side, people that are more creative. So it's impossible that we expect that when something new comes out, in terms of design tokens or Figma variables, that everyone will just jump on it. OK, yeah, that's our token architecture. Oh, yeah, I understand everything. So it would be better that you could just choose the color from your foundational library, and then the tokens would be applied automatically based on the architecture that you already defined before. So no more duplicates, no more tokens that are just living there for the sake of living. And again, you can push these changes to the repository. And now the last idea. So when you're building a product, you cannot sleep. You're always testing new features, maybe even new products. And it's quite hard, and it takes 3 to 6 months if you want to build it from scratch. Like, imagine creating wireframes, doing research, product design, then doing new code, and then pushing it, again testing live with people. And that requires a lot of resources as well. So based on that these models are quite fast, they could analyze your user flow. And then, when the video loads, you could also input all the data that you have. So research data, business model canvas, empathy map, and of course, all the interviews that you already did, and metrics that you have, because if you have a product, you have everything tracked. And then again, the model would analyze everything. And let's go one step forward. and give you the ability to generate prototype. And I'm not talking just about Figma prototypes. I mean, of course, that's also possible. But if you have a design system that's fully fledged, you could just combine components in a different way, generate this prototype, and push it to some external, I mean, to the website, to the web, or wherever you have, and talk with your customers. So you don't have to make all the interactions manually and spend time with this conditional logic that Figma introduced, but you have everything done really fast. Okay, but now that we went through everything, what's going on? Yeah, the video doesn't load, but the Pac-Man is eating all the dots. So I wanted to say that AI is a mirror of our society, and it's also the mirror of our company. So that doesn't mean that all the challenges that I showed you before will be solved like this, you know, with a magic stick. You will still have to do a lot of work by yourself. But AI, I see AI as your thought partner, as somebody that will help you do this task much faster and in a scalable way. So it's important to know that it will not grow smart just by feeding the data in, but it will grow smart if you will take time to train the whole system and also be more inclusive. So only if you will put data from different stuff and also from your organization, you will eventually build trust. And I don't want to give you impression that everything's so easy. It's not that in rainbows and butterflies. It's actually, it can be expensive. It takes effort because you will have to get used to new workflow, overcome some biases, because if you will input just the sources from popular sources, again, you will be quite biased. And also, there are some privacy concerns to overcome. But all in all, everything is on us. I mean, we are all learning in real time, so we don't know yet where this will go. But that's why we have to be careful and also think what our implications will, what will happen in the wild once we do these systems. But there's a really bad news, because there's something that AI can never generate, and that's pastel de nata. And I'm quite sad about that, because that's my favorite dessert. So I hope you have more of it today, and thanks for listening.